Resume to. All right, we have a motion second. All those in favor go back into the regular session. Please say aye. Aye. All right, next on the agenda, we have the Lincoln PSD, possible action.
Commissioners, I'm going to make a series of requests to the commission as far as motions to address this problem. I'd like to make a motion that we request the Ethics Commission opinion regarding apparent violations of the Open Governmental Act by the Lincoln Public Service District Board of Directors.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? All right, there's a second. Was that a second? All right.
I'll give you this.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Commission, I would like to also request that we send a letter to Lincoln PSD requesting them to resume the bulk water service as it has been historically for the last 30 years, that is 7 days weekly.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries.
Commissioners, I'd also like to ask the commission to send a letter to Lincoln PSD requesting them to seek approval from the Public Service Commission for a change in the tariff to authorize bulk water sales at Lincoln PSD.
Heard the motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries.
Commissioners, I would ask the commission authorize the prosecuting attorney to take all appropriate action possible to address issues of noncompliance by the Lincoln PSD Board of Directors.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries.
Commissioners, I'd like also to ask that we approve and authorize President Matthews to meet with the Public Service Commission about the commission's concerns regarding the Lincoln PSD.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries. Is there anything further?
That's all.
Anything further? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have Rick McDowell regarding the selection of the engineering firm for the courthouse roof and the, let's see here, the Camp Lakeview and the McCorkle settings.
Yes. Let me start with McCorkle, since that's the easiest. The firm that we have, the commission has employed at McCorkle to do the required maintenance. They are having trouble with parts of the system, the septic system. It's an old, I don't know how old it actually is, but it's pretty old. So they've requested a chance to meet, to talk about some options, and one of the options that they're talking about is the fact that the flow out of the system is low enough that they think they could just do a typical home kind of system to take care of it, which would decrease a whole lot of costs to the commission. What it would probably entail something like they're doing with the heart system. The design of system we find out for it. But we were hoping to have a meeting today. Something happened.
We'll find that out.
Yes.
We're going to add this to the agenda.
Yes.
Take that on.
Okay, I wanted to share with you the courthouse roof.
Well, it's Camp Lake.
Sure.
It's Camp Lake.
All right. Okay, we finished the Free Wednesdays program. I know I gave gave you an update last week, but here's the final piece of it. Sean, got it.
Yes, thank you. That was a nice picture. That was a very good picture, yeah. Didn't give you credit either.
So this is, we're in.
Okay, carry on.
Was that my fault?
No, by far.
I got too close to the machine and it exploded.
It's crossing my legs.
So you'll see that this year we had, just over 300 people who attended, and our cost was under $5, which is the cheapest it's been. We had one less helper working, which contributed to it, but we were able to handle things about it. So it was a good year.
Kids too.
Had a lot of kids. I think one of the things that I felt was really significant was we had a group that came from Stone's Trailer Park each time we did it because of Tri-River. And those were kids who really benefited, I think, from being there. They benefited from the free lunch and, they learned some new skills. So that was good. And I'd like to ask the commission if they would be willing, if I made up some certificates for the groups that provided the lunches, if we might present, if you all might present those to those groups at the next meeting.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, have them come and maybe the newspaper takes some pictures with them. We can thank everybody. Okay, the roof?
Yeah, the roof's on fire. It's on fire.
Okay, so, the commission received $100,000, which they matched from courthouse facilities in order to fix the roof. And the state law is sort of unusual when it comes to architects and engineers, and allows the commission to make a decision to hire an architect or an engineer, and then that company would then take care of designing the bids, do the bidding process, oversee the work. It's sort of like, I think, my guess is, the same kind of relationship that you've got to redo the church. It's that arrangement. So we sent out a while ago requests for what they call statement of qualifications to firms. We have 3 firms that replied. So they sent little packets, and the committee which appointed last time, Mary, Ryan, and myself, went through these packets and looked at them, and we ranked these firms. And
First choice was Seal.
our first choice was Sealing. It was based on a couple things. One was that they were the ones who, of course, had written the report that the commission got about the roof and how it could be improved. Their packet, anybody's packet, theirs was the most direct about replacing a roof and how you should do it and what kind of things should happen. ZMM did talk about replacing the roof, but they had copied the stuff from the report, copied and pasted all the pictures and everything. And E.L. Robinson didn't talk anything about it. They just talked about it with engineering. So we felt that Sealing was the best choice. And so the recommendation would be that the commission would choose Sealing, but then in order to get this process started, because it's supposed to be finished by December, that you all would authorize Mary and me to go into negotiations with Sealing. And what we would do with them is negotiate their price to do all this work. And they would proceed to design the bid for the roof, advertise the bid, follow the correct procedures, hire the people, and oversee the process. And then guarantee that they would enforce a guarantee on whomever.
All right, so we need to select an engineer and then authorize Mary and Rick to negotiate the price.
We would negotiate with them their price to do all this work. which would include designing the bid specs, and then making sure everything happens. They would advertise the bidding for it, they would, I would send their recommendation to the commission on a firm, and then they oversee it. And we don't know how much they would charge for that. We would negotiate that, and it would come out of the 200,000.
Okay, but then the people that actually work on it, we paid separately.
They would be paid separate from that, same 200,000, would be paid directly by the commission. Both of these.
They would come back and give us a bid to accept.
Yes. But they wouldn't award it. You guys would have to award it. And this would just sort of streamline it.
We need a motion to select Sylvan.
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Have it unanimous, motion carries. Now we need a motion to authorize Mary and Rick to negotiate, to enter into negotiations with Sylvan Engineering.
Second.
And bring you.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
That being unanimous, motion
We
carries.
will hopefully,
Thank you, Rick.
we may not have any actual recommendation on a contractor by the next meeting. I don't see how we could do that with the timeline we have to follow for putting bids out, but who is
And with the December completion, that was an issue with probably then, also if somebody might have, could you get an extension, it's in process.
Mary has started that process.
I have to request it before October 20th, but we're gonna wait till closer to that time to see where we are. We can't-
Our feeling is that we have the bids out and start the work and everything.
It's always good to know your head.
Yes.
Well, we don't want to get too far ahead.
We get one of those certificates for volunteer work, you're gonna have to get a big one. Don't you think?
We'll see. I don't need it. As the, well, I should say, as the space over there decreases, there are no walls.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's no old business to discuss, but we have some items on new business. Have you all had an opportunity to read the new business? Do you all have any questions regarding any of the new business? If there's not any questions, I'd like to have a motion to approve the new business as presented. Is there a second? There's a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. That be unanimous, motion carries. Now we're at commission concerns and communications. Mr. McCain.
Just pass along that the Guyan Dock River project is moving along. Just talked to a couple of guys, went to a meeting and they're gonna come to the commission. Basically, that's something soon about getting the commission's endorsement and support, that kind of thing, resolution. The project is moving, they come up the name, that kind of thing.
Mr. McCain. Dr. Vance.
I don't really think that I had anything to say. I had some remarks I was going to prepare concerning the problems that people have over on the other side of the dam before the PSD, but I think we've already addressed that, so that's really all I have.
All right, well, I have a few things. I spoke with Tracy Rowan today from RUS, and she has informed me that all the paperwork has been submitted to RUS for the Alcohol Woodville project on her end. That's just one funding agency. The next funding agency was the IJDC, which is the Infrastructure Council. I spoke with Mike Webb today, not Mike Webb, David Webb today. No, excuse me, Mike Webb. Wrong, I had David Webb down. Mike Webb from Region 2, and he said that all the paperwork had been submitted to the IJDC and that they were waiting for a response from them. Once they get the response, expecting it any day now. Once that happens, then Thrasher Engineering will be authorized to run the ad in the papers for the bids for the Alcohol Woodville project. And hopefully, speaking with Jonathan Carpenter today from Thrasher Engineering, that could be next week. So, that's, being hopeful that's the time. Okay, I know that people in that area have waited for 20 years for water, and I know that, saying it's going to be another week is not not helpful, but we're closer than we ever been. Next thing, I'd like to thank Dave Webb and Steve Bills for coming in and addressing the flooding issue that we have and getting those agencies on board to take care of these problems. I know it's a huge issue from Hamlin to Yawkey, and I'm just glad that the Guyan Conservation District can step up and help out the commission. Really appreciate that. Spoke with Congressman Ray Hall's office today regarding a letter that we were supposed to get from AT&T regarding a cell phone, a letter of commitment for a cell phone, for their equipment to be located on a cell phone tower at Bear Fork, which is close to Yawkey. He informed me that the letter would be coming next week, that we should be expecting the letter next week, and that's really, really good news. I spoke with Alan Holder regarding the tower at Hamlin, and he has all the paperwork ready, and it's been submitted for the tower at Hamlin, the cell phone tower at Hamlin, and we actually the bids went out for that, and they're going to be hopefully breaking ground on that once they get the go-ahead from the grant. But the next phase, they're going to be doing the next phase is the tower there at Bear Fork, and he's indicated to me that they're ready to start the core samples for that to support 2 400-foot structures. Yeah, right beside the 911 center, which will be equipped with microwave, all kinds of things, and hopefully those 2 towers, the way Alan was talking, that they will be able to communicate with each other. So that's one. That's why we're doing 2 at a time. But anyway, gentlemen.
I got one thing I forgot to say. Charles and I attended at the, I think it's USDA Strike Force meeting at the Hamlin Primary Care Center when but it was a very interesting meeting. I think they're going to all the counties, and Southern County especially, talking to people about it. Congressman Ray Hall was there, and as was Commissioner Helmick, and even the WVU president was down there for a while there the other day. But I think it's important that they're talking the same talk we're talking here, as far as utilizing agriculture and trying to stimulate local economies, rural economies. And I found some of the things, including the fact that they're in a potato processing machine in Huntington for this region, which will actually clean bag potatoes and things of that nature, the way I understand it. And we can actually bring all the farmers or whoever we're working with in these various counties can bring their produce in, get the potatoes in there and have those taken care of at one time. There's a lot, I think this is something that, and I know Commissioner Matthews has, we've talked about our farmers markets and things like that, but I do think there's a lot of potential for our small farmers here if we can organize this correctly and let them know what is available and how it can help them. And I know Steve was over there, I think, at the meeting there too, and things. And, there's a lot of potential and a lot of programs that can help farmers get started, beekeepers, just different type things. And there's loans and grants for these things to where you can actually build some of these. They were talking about as far as using, I think they call them high tunnel greenhouses or similar type things to actually prolong the growing season, because we have such a short growing season. And I really think that, in thinking and listening to what was said the other day, I think the thing I came away with is, boy, if you could grow potatoes, you could sell every one of them. So and I really, when I grew up working in a garden, and the thing I liked about potatoes, you only had to hoe them once. Everything else you had to hoe twice. So I just, in that little bit of, I guess, laziness from my childhood, but I do think that this is something that we really need to make our farmers, and especially our smaller farmers, aware of, is that there is some potential there to increase their income every year. And it's one thing if you're making $50,000 a year, but if you're trying to live on $25,000 and you can make an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, that's a significant amount of your income. And it could potentially give us jobs for our younger people also, once they're trained and know how to work into these particular programs and things of that nature. But I was really more excited after attending this, and just because of the amount of programs and things and the doability of some of these things, it wouldn't require a big investment by our farmers, other than
And
the
I'm
time that
dying
they
for
always
some
get.
fresh food around here.
There you go.
And potatoes and stuff, I mean, there is nothing.
No, it's getting ready.
But I really think that's gonna be part of our future here in Lincoln County, and part of our people's
It
future.
used to
That's-
be on tobacco,
Right.
cash
Yeah.
crop. Now we're gonna take a little bit of.
And Sean could probably speak to this potato part of it, I don't know, I just kidding.
To leave on a good note, wanted to tell you, the Lincoln County Opportunity Company, LCOC, sent us a letter thanking us for their contribution. I'll tell you that. We also had, I forgot to mention this, we were talking to E.L. Robinson, and they sent the specs for the courthouse annex to and received some information back from the general contractor, and it actually increased our price from what E.L. Robinson gave us per square foot, which is fairly significant. The general contractor stated that it would probably take $2.2 million to complete the project. So, something that we need to be aware of and work towards. But anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to be out of town on September the 4th. I'm going to have a conference that I have to go to. I was going to ask if we could move the meeting to the Tuesday of that week, which would be September the 2nd, if that would be all right with you all. Mr. McCain, do you have a problem with it?
No,
6 o'clock will be okay? So let's, if you don't care, I'd like to adjourn the session of the county commission until September the 2nd at 6 o'clock. So moved. Second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And, we're adjourned.